Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly wild, satirical story from the fictional town of Crapchester, where one Halloween night just completely spiraled into a storm of drugs, violence, and, yes, political masks.
So, just to give you an idea of how completely absurd things got, let's kick things off with this quote from a local pensioner, Sid Porrock. He basically saw his town come under siege. So the story goes that all the trouble kicked off when some trick-or-treaters were apparently given hallucinogenic drugs that were disguised as candy. And as you can probably guess, things escalated fast.
I mean, we are not talking about a few eggs being thrown here. The eyewitness reports are just insane. We're talking kids dressed as ghosts on rooftops, others as devils, and even Barbie trying to perform a ritual sacrifice on a playground roundabout. One group even tried to burn a delivery driver at the stake. It was pure mayhem.
Now, after all this chaos died down, two very different stories started to pop up about who was actually to blame for everything that went down that night. On one side, you've got Sid Porrock, the pensioner. He is not mincing words. He firmly believes the parents are the ones at fault here. To him, the kids were just crazed little bastards, and he thought the police were way too soft on them. But then you hear the other side of the story. This is from Declan Hoop, a parent whose son unknowingly brought home a sweet laced with LSD. The family dog ate it, had a violent reaction, and, well, it ended in a way that Hoop says has scarred his children for life. And right there, that's the heart of the conflict. You've got one resident who just sees a complete failure of parenting, and kids who are, a menace every single year. And on the other hand, you have a parent who sees this as a targeted criminal act against innocent kids who are now the victims of something truly horrific. But hold on, because the drug-fueled chaos wasn't the only thing going on in Crapchester that night. Nope, a bit of political commentary threw a whole new, really bizarre layer of confusion onto the fire.
So a local manufacturer came out with this Halloween mask of the then Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, and it got super popular. But the people wearing them weren't just out looking for candy, they were on their own, let's call it a specific campaign of terror.
According to Porrock, there were hordes of children wearing these masks, and they were specifically targeting the homes of immigrants and asylum seekers. They were shouting trick or deportation, causing this genuine terror among residents who were afraid they were about to be dragged out of their homes. And this is where it just gets even weirder. The local police, through an inspector, Andy Candler, actually claimed their response was slowed down because these little squeaky-voiced kids in masks were issuing them orders. Apparently, they didn't want to risk defying what looked like a government official. You can't make this stuff up. So the town's in shambles. And what happens when things go wrong? Yep, the blame game begins. As everyone tried to figure out what just happened, it became pretty clear that nobody was willing to take any responsibility. This slide is the perfect little roadmap of a total breakdown in accountability. The pensioner, he blames the parents. The parents, they blame whoever laced the sweets. The police, they're claiming their station was under siege by kids dressed as ninjas. And the guy who made the masks, oh, he blames sick perverts for misusing his product. So the manufacturer, a guy named Harold Milkley, he actually defended his mask. He basically argued he was just giving the people what they wanted, a contemporary boogeyman. He said he was fulfilling a demand for more traditional, scary Halloween costumes by picking a figure he called horrendous and evil. And get this wasn't even Millie's first rodeo with a controversial mask. A few years back, his company made a Jimmy Savile mask that got linked to a series of sexual assaults. And in both cases, his defense was the same: blame the sick perverts who misuse his products. Okay, so what do you even do at this point? You've got drug-crazed kids, political terror squads, and absolutely zero accountability. How could the town possibly stop this from ever happening again?
Well, the official response is extreme. The Crapchester District Council is now actually considering a proposal to ban Halloween, the whole holiday. Just ban it outright, hoping to cut the problem off at the source.
But this idea of a ban brings us full circle, right back to one final, pretty dark theory from Sid Porrock. He thinks the whole night might have started as a revenge attack, some kind of vigilante justice from a person who was just fed up with being terrorized year after year. And that's really what this whole bizarre, satirical story from Crapchester leaves you with. It's this one big question. When a community event just completely melts down into chaos, who's actually at fault? Is it the individuals, the parents, the culture? Or is it a whole system where it's just easier to blame somebody else?